All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of TechCon 2025. This session is going to be filled with a lot of information. We've got Sonika Vij from Product Manager for the whole of webMethods product management. And she's going to run through a lot of stuff today on the software and SaaS offerings around event streaming framework, a new piece for webMethods, enhancements and API management, MFT, managed file transfer, and overall integration with SaaS. So there's going to be improved support for hybrid use cases. We're looking at improved security features, lots more to discuss, and also around webMethods 10x and how to get to the latest release. So Sonika, I'll hand it over to you. Lots to cover.
Thank you, Frank. Hello, everybody. My name is Sonika Vij. I'm a senior product manager with the webMethods product management team. And welcome, everyone. This is going to be a very content-filled session. So I look forward to sharing all the different highlights we have, the latest and greatest features that we have launched in the webMethods 11.1 release. And welcome again to IBM TechCon 2025, if this is your first time or a second. But anyway, I will get started here. I have a lot of slides, and feel free to add questions as I go through content into the chat. So let's start with the first like understanding what integration is, right? In terms of IBM, like IBM terms where we understand integration to be multifaceted. And what do I mean by that, right? Integration is not just app-to-app integration. It's a number of different use cases. And it's definitely app-to-app, but it also involves trading partner, supply integration, there's data integration, as well as there's API management, file management, what we call managed file transfer. And there's event-driven integration as well as message-oriented integration. So as you see, it covers a lot of different use cases. And definitely another thing that I do want to touch upon is that it is multidimensional. It goes across many dimensions, right? And what I mean by that is that we have integration that goes across, it bridges everything from mainframe legacy applications to the most modern SaaS applications. It's hybrid by design, and that's really our calling card, really, because that's what we see organizations are, hybrid by nature, right? And what we mean is that you have applications deployed, across on your on-prem, basically, through a private data center, or public cloud or a private cloud, and you need integration that spans across all these different deployment targets. And integrations are multi-cloud, right? Because we have so many different cloud providers. There's AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and many more. But organizations will pick based on, again, their workloads, cost, and efficiency, which one of these cloud providers to actually host on, right? And finally, the role of AI. Again, it's huge. AI is really kicking off thousands of applications a day. And what we want is an integration platform that is modernized for AI applications. And so we come to, understanding what is IBM's integration solution. We call it the IBM Hybrid iPaaS, right? It is our unified integration platform as a service. We provide a single common user interface and a control plane that allows you to manage hybrid deployments across different integration patterns where customers can leverage the power of app integration, API integration, B2B integration, and manage file transfer with a centralized UX and the ability, which is very key, the ability to develop anywhere and deploy anywhere. Right? This helps enterprises, again, accelerate innovation, derive value from data, and infuse AI, and of course, modernize their applications. One of the cool things is that IBM's Hybrid iPaaS can also augment and build on your existing, capabilities, such as Cloud Pak for integration. And it allows you to, have this multifunction unified Hybrid iPaaS that helps customers overcome integration silos, compose new AI-infused applications and services, and then, of course, leverage composable architecture and a unified user experience, right? Excuse me. So let's get started. I think this is where, most of my focus is in this presentation. I'm going to be talking about webMethods 11.1 software release, right? This is our on-prem software products. Again, webMethods provides a broad collection of capabilities and products, including application, B2B integration, API management, managed file transfer, messaging, and process automation through its suite of products, and hence we call it a suite. And of course, clients can access webMethods capabilities both as a managed cloud service offering that is a subscription license-based, or clients can purchase and install webMethods software in a locally managed cloud environment, a private software data center, or a virtualized environment. So let's start with the integration release, that is the 11.1 webMethods integration release. Three main themes that we are focused on: increased developer productivity, integration that prioritize security, and enhancements to our connectors and adapters. And the goal is to be able to expand the reach of developers to address more integration use cases. And one of the key areas we've addressed is with this new event streaming framework, where customers that are doing messaging in the past can continue to do so. But also we've incorporated a new streaming engine like Kafka, which is now becoming extremely popular in our customer base, as well as standard support has been enhanced for a better developer experience. Right, and security, of course, it's been a huge topic for us over the years, and topics like secure by default have come into the terminology in the way customers want to treat integration patterns, right? And we have added enhancements for better security configurations into our product. Last but not the least, let's talk a little bit about the enhancements to connectors and adapters. By the way, all of these are released off cycle. When I say that, it's released throughout the year. So you'll see a lot of releases coming out for connectors and adapters, and we keep updating them. And that is really key because this is the primary way our customers get to connect to their backend systems with their legacy databases or SaaS applications and so on. All right, let me just, okay, sorry, I skipped the slide. I have this slide here. I know I'm going to get into the details of these features, so I won't talk about each one of these. It's a busy slide. But really, we are looking at a release that brings a variety of features focused on security, interoperability, and operational efficiency, designed to make our integration experience smoother than ever before. Right, the three main categories or areas are products, integration server, MSR, which is microservices runtime. And for those who don't know MSR, it's a lightweight version of IS, fully containerized, and you can orchestrate and have highly available instances through technologies like Kubernetes. And so in this area, like I said, we see the evolving landscape of messaging providers. And so with 11.1, we've added a new event streaming framework that focuses on an agnostic approach with initial support for Kafka, and more plugins and extensibilities planned to allow developers to integrate natively with any platform. Security is key to any successful integration, and with features like security profiles, we'll be, like I said, talking about it in a little detail as I go through the next few slides. We have strict output filtering and other standard-based improvements also in this release. Another highlight is the administrators have more control than ever in hardening their runtimes. And then talking about Service Designer, or our developer-focused updates in IBM webMethods Designer 11.1, which is again focused on service development. Things like features where we have reference data for static lookups. We've added visibility of the webMethods package registry in Designer itself, and an updated admin API for improved remote operation and configuration. And also, as you see, there have been a lot of updates to our public services. We have over a lot of those. And so many enhancements and capabilities have been added for our developers to leverage them. Also, to make runtimes more operationally smoother, a few improvements like a new shutdown option to wait for, a running service, additional useful metrics on startup, as well as loading errors. All of those enhancements have been added. And we continue to work, so on adapters and connectors, we continue to work, like I said, on releasing new adapters and connectors, but also addressing hybrid use cases when transactions span the iPaaS offering and self-hosted runtimes in key areas such as metrics, alerting, and performance throttling. So all of these are part of this 11.1 release. Let's go to the next slide, and just a summary of all the different features and highlights that I'm going to be talking about. This is a small subset of all the features. Over 200 plus features have come out in this release. But yes, we are very excited to introduce this new event streaming support in 11.1. Again, we see with the rise of IoT and event-driven architectures, right, our customers are dealing with ever-growing number of messaging platforms and higher volumes of data. Right, to address this, what we've developed, and you'll see this diagram explains a little bit high-level view of what it is. It's a new modular messaging framework that is designed to integrate natively with various messaging platforms. This solution offers traditional messaging, that our customers are familiar with, so message processing, and introduces a new event streaming model, allowing seamless and scalable processing of large event volumes across different platforms. This modular approach allows Integration Server to act, again, both as an event producer and an event consumer, supporting high throughput event handling with minimal configuration out of the box. Again, it's like I mentioned here, it's completely compatible with Kafka, but additional plugins and SDK documentation will enable integration with a variety of other messaging platforms. And you can see the link in the slide that you can look up the documentation to understand more of the details of how to configure this. The next one is JCache integration. JCache, or more formally known as JSR 107, is now natively supported with the Integration Server. With this release, we are, again, adding support for JSR 107 compliant caches, providing a very flexible and a standardized way for our customers to manage and access cache data from external caching providers. JSR 107 standard, again, sometimes called JC, is based on Java's standardized caching APIs, allowing our runtimes to work seamlessly with popular cache providers such as EHCache, Redis, Hazelcast, and other compatible caching technologies used by our customers. In this initial release, we will support configurable cache providers as replacements for our inbuilt caching solutions, specifically for service results and services that make use of public services in the pub.cache. All right, the next one I'm going to talk about, and another exciting one, is Vault support. So in today's integration environments, managing sensitive data like API keys, database credentials, and tokens securely is crucial. And we all understand that without proper, secrets management, those sensitive data elements get embedded either into like hard-coded in configuration files or embedded into the application code, again, making them vulnerable to unauthorized access, accidental exposure, and serious compliance challenges, right? Hard coding secrets, and of course, makes it difficult to rotate or revoke them if need be. And that creates an impact to the services, potentially, increasing the risk of security incidents. To address these challenges, webMethods Integration Server and MSR will now support integration with HashiCorp Vault for robust secrets management. Additionally, there's details in the slide that I won't go over, but basically there is a new set of public services that enable setting and retrieving secrets and management of the secrets cache. In fact, there are these services. If you look up the Integration Server built-in services guide, reference guide, you will get more information there. But this feature ensures that sensitive information is securely managed by Vault and accessed only by authorized services, right? And hence, by separating these, secrets from code and configuration files, our integration runtime and Vault provide robust protection for critical data, and make it also easier for us to secure and manage the integration environments. All right, the next one, great. This is also another big highlight for us in the integration server side. When it comes to integration environments, right, we understand that security needs can vary between production and non-production environments. By default, our security settings are designed for development and testing purposes. But, we also understand that for certain environments, right, security is paramount, like when we think about our production environments. And hence, the IS Integration Server 11.1 now has a concept of security profiles which basically allows you to configure security-related configurations to the appropriate level, based on your need. As mentioned here, a profile is just simply a configurations or properties file, and with the production profile representing the optimal settings chosen by our security experts. And these profiles, of course, can be switched on startup via the configuration or environment variables. We definitely recommend that you test any profile changes in a development or test environment that mirrors your production setup. And again, we also encourage customers to use well-defined scenarios to observe potential impacts. For example, monitor any failing services and adjust configurations as needed. Again, this proactive approach is definitely helps ensure those smooth transitions without compromising any security or functionality as we build our integrations. The webMethods package manager, another highlight for this 11.1 release, where package manager is now available as a standalone command line tool, similar to NPM or the PIP Python, basically. This is actually really cool because you can install your own packages via the webMethods package manager or host your own private registry. WPM is also baked into our base images, and you can use, you can add packages via a simple Docker file. We've added a sample command over there, but you can also look it up through the link. And also in this slide, you'll see a link down below on the right. We now offer webMethods Service Designers available for download. You don't need to install installer or update manager. You can just download this and then also use ready-made images from our container registry and add packages as required using the webMethods package manager. This slide actually is just an introduction to the concept of open telemetry, or what is observability, right? Without going into the details on the slide, let's talk about observability for a second. Observability is the ability to understand the internal state of a system by examining its outputs, right? In that context, when we talk about it in software, right, that means being able to understand the internal state of a system by examining its telemetry data, which includes traces, metrics, and logs. And to make a system observable, it must be instrumented, right? So that is what the code does. The code must be able to emit traces, metrics, and logs, and the instrumented data must be, be able to send it to an observability backend. And that's what we have done using OpenTelemetry support, right? This is a sample diagram you see here of hybrid integration monitoring and the self-hosted transaction monitoring with the OpenTelemetry support. We've added this into the 11.1 release. Some of you might already be familiar with end-to-end monitoring, but basically that's what end-to-end monitoring supports, monitoring of transactions, both originating in self-hosted products such as webMethods Integration Server and webMethods API Gateway, and also supports monitoring of hybrid integration transactions as well. And what do we mean by hybrid integration transaction? So a hybrid integration consists of a transaction that spans multiple platforms and products, including both cloud and our on-premise products. So this support was previously limited to a single channel support that provided transaction monitoring, basically for either hybrid integrations or for self-hosted originating transactions. With this capability, we have now extended, has been extended. So you have a dual channel support that provides simultaneous transaction monitoring for both hybrid integrations and self-hosted originating transactions. As you see in the slide, the end-to-end, agent, the E2E agent as listed here, can now be configured to trace all your self-hosted product transactions to what we call the application platform monitoring tool, APM tool, or a data store of your choice. And this way, basically a data store of your choice. Again, you'll have to use the OpenTelemetry standard for that. End-to-end monitoring allows you to track integrations from the cloud through to your on-premise installation, right? And gives you a complete view of your integration landscape, regardless of the topology of your IT infrastructure. So this is a really, really important addition and something that our customers have been asking for. So this is described in more detail in the documentation. If you refer to that link that is at the bottom of the slide. I've listed here some of the overall improvements with developer experience, as well as some customers may have questions on compatibility on what you can use with different versions. So far, webMethods 11.1 and 10.15 are fully supported. We are looking at other versions as well, including 10.11, but that is to be requested. So that's not yet available in this release. All right, let's switch gears now. Let's move on to API management. This is, like I said, another big part of our whole webMethods portfolio of products, right? And API management offers a very comprehensive list of features, and you'll see that when I cover the next slide, we'll go into some of the details and highlights of this. But basically, what is API management? You know, these are products that enable organizations to effectively identify and authorize consumers, increase engagement, and make it easy for them to integrate the APIs into applications. The set of products for API management include API Gateway, which is the core runtime component, which enables organizations to secure, manage, and monitor their API programs. We have Developer Portal, which is a platform for securely exposing APIs to partners, app developers, and a broader public, basically a marketplace for API businesses to drive growth. And then I'll talk a little bit about API control plane. So the three themes, as you see here, we're focused on is enable working at scale, so that build and prepare API management platform for upcoming release of API Studio, API governance, API control plane, which allows organization to manage distributed API landscapes and provide better visibility, third-party gateways, and all that work, you know, has happened in that area. And we're very excited to share some more details in the next slide. And last but not the least, the continuous delivery model, which means that we want to be able to, introduce and release, have frequent updates, so new features and improvements can be released quickly, and innovation that customers want is delivered to them. So the next slide really covers some of the highlights, and these are just some of the features. There are not many in each of the product areas that I talked about. It's a busy slide. I won't get into all the details, but let's talk about API Gateway for a minute. Developing API Studio created assets and governance is again one of the key highlights. Also, I think it's not listed here, but I do want to mention that in 11.1, API Gateway runs on microservices runtime, MSR, which is a much leaner footprint. And you can see the reduced dependencies on, the Bootstrap packages, and also we've removed the Tanuki wrapper for the runtime. 11.1 also has, enhancements so that platform administrators can configure the API control plane agent through the API Gateway user interface. Right. I think previously when we had API Gateway, previous versions supported only you could add the API control plane through system properties, but now we allow you to use the interface and do it. The next highlight is consumption plans, that support all API consumer identification types. In previous versions, we only supported API keys. Also, there's an improved OAuth strategy deployment, which means previously we used to have the OAuth strategies and credentials were overwritten, right, on consumer app deployment, requiring, again, you had to manually reset the system. But now administrators can choose to overwrite or preserve these settings as their need be. Let's talk about Developer Portal. And so we've incorporated a lot of capabilities of the Engage product into Developer Portal. Specifically the ability to host beta programs and hackathons, which means we can actively engage with API consumers and receive early feedback. Viewing and copying of sample code snippets in multiple programming languages. I think there are 50 plus languages that we support for REST API resources. And also the ability to download client SDK that enables very quick integration with the REST APIs in your applications. We also have in this area support for direct monetization of APIs by configuring your payment gateway account. Also, there's the option to configure a default language for Developer Portal, which enables the localization. Again, it's a user-friendly tool, and that's what localization helps get outreach to more developers. The next one, let's talk about API control plane. This is just not a unification of not just webMethods API management, but also how we will bring together the API Connect gateways into it, as well as third-party gateways in the fold. It is actually only delivered currently through a container-based deployment, so you can't use installer to install it. But we are working on that, so it's currently available only through the container registry. The highlights in this API control plane are API listings to view metadata and compare versions in one glance through the interface, dashboard enhancements to allow viewing high number of assets at a given time, and agent SDKs allowing for integration to third-party runtimes. Also, we have a lot more features, supporting for developer portal as a runtime type has been added in the API control plane. Let's go to the next slide. Great. Now another area that I'm really excited to share is B2B. So webMethods B2B, again, going back, most of the initial integration use cases for webMethods were with customers, suppliers, trading partners, exchanging EDI documents. This has been a huge strength for webMethods. On the software side, so this, we have 3 products, so trading networks, B2B, and the managed file transfer product that covers the entire webMethods B2B area. 3 main themes that you see here on this slide is what we're focused on with B2B is security. Again, since these transactions are done on the internet, security is huge, and we have made a lot of enhancements in this area. Cloud storage integration. Another one is all the, a part of this is the options that we provide to our customers, right? Our B2B customers are looking for additional cloud storage options, and we've added support for Google Cloud Storage, and self-hosted S3 buckets. And then last but not the least, in managed file transfer has always had an extensive API catalog, but we have added support now for, API support for file functions such as rename, copy, move, etc., directly via an API over HTTPS connections. Excuse me. On the details, so let's get into some of the highlights for trading networks, active transfer, and e-standards. On the TN side, again, a lot of work is done around e-standards, RosettaNet, Swift, a lot of the vertical standards that we work towards. So one area that we've added support for is the PPOL standard. This is a standard for e-invoicing, and it's actually mandated in the European regions. And now we have added support in 11.1. Trading Networks supports this standard. On the active transfer side, we've added GCP self-hosted S3 bucket support, as well as in the basically HTTP API support for operations, all kinds of security related updates, as well as you see here the host key fingerprinting, encryption and decryption, and PGP tasks, as well as we have added enhancements to our schedule database archival. On the EDI side, so the e-standards, right? This is a vertical industry standards, and one of the things we do on a regular basis annually is certifications. And so we have, Swift which is a financial industry standard used heavily by our banking customers, and financial industry is also one we certify with. On the EDI traditional B2B integration side, we have AS1 and AS2, which is the most popular transport mechanisms for transporting B2B and EDI files, and we have done those certifications as part of the e-standards release. All right, great. This is, kind of like 3 different areas. So as I mentioned to you, webMethods suite, is truly a suite. We have so many different products. We've already talked about integration. We talked about API management products. We've talked about B2B and managed file transfer. So let's talk about business process monitoring, BPMS, and some of the highlights there, universal messaging, and the suite. In the BPMS area, we have updates for Jetty and JSF to the latest compatible versions. We've made enhancements to the rules engine, which is hosted inside IS, and we have IS as the backbone now for BPMS. Task Engine is also hosted in the integration server, and there are some updates on that, as well as on business rules, runtime performance improvements. We have added support for IPv6, which has been long-standing. So you'll see MWS, Glue, Optimize, and other products are all, IPv6 supported. And the other one is OAuth support for customers using Microsoft Exchange. That's another highlight for BPMS. In terms of UM is used by many of our integration customers. It is our internal JMS provider. This is the pub/sub engine that helps to decouple publishers and subscribers so that when you do integrations, you don't want to do point-to-point, but have a pub/sub solution for it. And so we have added a lot of features. Again, UM is heavily used and is also deployed in containers. We've added features to enhance Prometheus support for health checks and for metrics can be piped out and be made available to third party. There are some other enhancements that are listed here. And then last but not the least, the suite. This is more related to our operating system, JVM, database support. And as you see, we added support for the Azul JVM 17 runtime with webMethods 11.1. Also, we have support for Entrust Authority. The security toolkit has been updated to 8.1. This is an important security update, as well as Eclipse version to 4.25 for Designer and its plugins. Also, we've made updates to the operating system as well as database. I won't go into all the details, but they're listed here. And again, if you have any requests in terms of, any enhancements or any other operating systems and database support that we can add, please feel free to reach out to me for that. We continuously monitor our customer needs as well as the market trends, and we continue to add, new operating systems. We will be adding Red Hat, support as well as a power processor in this. So that's something for the next release. So let's go to a different section now that I've added here in this presentation is some technical how-tos, some things that customers are curious about and want to know more. And, we are starting to understand a lot of things as we've made the shift to, now we are part of IBM, right? There are certain processes and certain ways of accessing our products that has changed, right? And so this particular link right at the top is a blog post link that is a live page. I encourage you to bookmark it because it covers all the product offering details for our existing customers and partners. Specifically, you will find here details for, like, for example, IBM webMethods 10.15 and all the products for 10.15 and earlier are documented. And how do you access installer and update manager? You will find more technical details in instructions over there. Also, in terms of license keys and metering, there have been questions on that for previous versions. So you can get access to that through that blog post. But also the other part of this is the details for IBM webMethods 11.1. There's, of course, detailed documentation here. One of the things that I'm going to cover a little bit is the metering aspect in 11.1. And if you, I don't know, this was something that we mentioned to our customers, but when 11.1 GA'd back in September last year, we did not have license key support or metering enabled at that time. And so if you go to this particular blog post, you will see instructions on how to enable that and how to update your license keys if they're expiring or you're due for a renewal. Please do look at these instructions carefully. Also, I do want to mention that IBM is in the process of moving contracts and entitlements for existing, Software AG customers, and so our existing webMethods customers and partners to IBM systems. So if you have questions related to that, please reach out to the sales team. Metering. Yes, this is the topic that I just talked about, especially for 11.1 on-prem installations for our customers. Metering is required for all our usage-based products. So we have IS, MSR, trading networks, API gateway, and active transfer. They're all usage-based, products that we do metering with. So by default, when you install 11.1 GA, metering will not be enabled. So what you need to do for that is to install the 11.1 fixes. The official fixes are out for all of these 4 products, and you would have to install them on your 11.1 installation to turn on metering, right? And also there is a link here to a portal, which is a self-service portal, You can generate your metering configurations for that installation. Basically set that up so that the metering configuration then identifies the customer, and the transactions that are to be sent to the metering system are enabled through that. And so that's something that, again, is listed on that blog post. I won't go into all the details here, but basically all of those fixes will be available and are made available through the Passport Advantage and the Fix Central site. So if you go to Fix Central and you can look up these fixes, the details and the names of those fixes are listed on the blog post, and that's what you can refer to. Let's talk about product lifecycle. webMethods. So when we were at webMethods, there was some of you know, if you're existing, older webMethods customers, right? You know about the end of maintenance and the end of support that we had. Now, in terms of IBM terms, what we've taken is 10.5, 10.7, and 10.11. Is kind of like, adhering to what we had committed to customers back when we were at Software AG. So the general availability date is, of course, stays the same, but you'll see the end of support date here, which is tied or very much in alignment with what we called end of maintenance back at Software AG. What it also adds here is the initial extended support and ongoing extended support dates. And the way I'll explain this is initial extended support includes your support for usage, existing and new critical bug fixes are covered as part of that in that cycle. So basically, till that initial extended support date, you will be getting fixes, any security updates, and so on. However, for the ongoing extended support date, right, that is when you only get support for usage and existing fixes. We will not be creating any new security fixes during that time. So during that 1 year period. This is sort of a hybrid model, when it comes to the 10.5, 10.7, 10.11 versions. For 10.15, we had extended support. So we had long-term support already defined for 10.15 when we launched it a few years back. And so we have, the 5 years, till the end of support date, that is 2022 to 2027. And then 1 year till the initial extended support date. And this is an IBM policy or support policy that we have adapted for 10.15. And then the ongoing extended support end date is the 31st October 2030. The link here, the published URL, as you see here, please bookmark this because this has all the details for these dates and also certain caveats that we've covered there. And if you see the next slide here, we talk about how, well, firstly, there's no extended support available for any release that is prior to 10.5. Also that the ongoing extended support period where certain underlying embedded third-party vendor-specific products, again, we don't have control on all of the third-party vendors and libraries that we embed, including JVMs, applications, OSs, frameworks, databases. They're no longer supported if the respective vendor doesn't support them. Then our IBM support basically is limited to commercially reasonable efforts, right? And we do the best effort possible to address customer issues. But again, if the third party, whatever the vendor is not supporting it, unfortunately, we can't issue fixes on it. Also excluded in this extended support are fixes for third-party software like Elasticsearch, Kibana, which are packaged with API Gateway, just because they have a limited support. So we have to limit our support too. And again, we want to ensure that you remember, this is something that, a lot of customers forget, that basically our extended support agreement, covers only those OSs and databases and JVM that we supported at the time of the release of that product version, right? So at that time, we have a documentation that comes out for OS JVM databases, and that's what we continue to support in that extended support. So no new additions can be done or updates. Please refer to that. I would say the link that I mentioned in the previous slide covers all the details, so highly recommend going to that. This is a quick reminder. Again, a lot of customers, were used to the Empower and the, what we used to call tech communities back in Software AG, right? And you would get updates and announcements on webMethods products through that. What I'd like to encourage you to do is go to your IBM site. If you have your IBM ID created, you can then set up your IBM My Notifications once you log in. And the way you do is, do you subscribe to the webMethods suite? So in that search box here, you would look up webMethods suite and basically just subscribe to that, because if you type webMethods, it'll come up with about 20-30 products there, and you don't want to subscribe to each one of those. To make it easy for our customers, we have now added the webMethods suite as an option. So you will get all the latest updates on it. If you're deprecating an operating system, if you're issuing a security update, sometimes there will be like metering. We have new fixes coming out for metering. All of those updates and how-tos and technical articles will get published, and you can then select your delivery method and get updates on our products. These are quick links. Customers, might have questions, and I've added links to different product offering, the blog that I mentioned earlier. This is the IBM Fix Central that you can refer to. There's documentation. The documentation site will be getting moved in a few months, but for now, please refer to this. Also, the product lifecycle that I covered, both for 10.x and then for 11.x, you would go to the regular product lifecycle page. And then the container access, right? Where do you access containers for webMethods 10.15? That's also listed here. With that, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to hearing questions, feedback from you on our release. And we also have an office hours, so if you can log in there and interact and let us know if you have anything that we can help you with. Thank you.
Thanks, Sonika. We have one question in the chat. Got a poll as well, if people could take the poll. The question is from Mark Cleveland. Is the API management based on API Connect, App Connect, or is it a separate gateway and management platform? If it's separate, is there any interoperability between API Connect, and webMethods?
Mm-hmm. Great question, Mark. So basically, for this release, 11.1 was launched or GA'd of September 2024. We currently have this as a separate product. So API Gateway is its own standalone product, but there are plans already for this year to release sort of converge these two, right? The IBM API Connect as well as the API Gateway. And also there are some other products that are coming out that will have that we will start converging and also have some interoperability and less dependence on the integration server. We can get the PM for API management to give you some more details, but that's part of our roadmap. Yes.
Thanks, Sonika. And yeah, if anyone didn't see Dave Pemberton's session yesterday on the hybrid iPaaS, then that covers the hybrid control plane, and it covers how API, App Connect, webMethods are all going to come together to where you can do development and control of those pieces all in one place.